Got a video here for you men. 7 ways to increase testosterone naturally. If you're not aware, testosterone levels in men are on average about half of what they were when our grandparents were our age. So that's not good. It's a major public health crisis that doesn't get any attention because the politicians don't mind. They don't care if we're all sick and weak and dependent. So you're not going to hear about this on the news, but the truth is testosterone counts in men are a really, really big problem. Having a high testosterone count is so healthy. It's so beneficial in so many ways. Creates resistance to disease. It makes your bones stronger, less likely to break. Makes you healthier, happier, stronger, longer, better longevity, better mood, better attitude. You're more useful as a man to everyone around you, to your family, to your children. If you have a low testosterone count, it ain't good, man. It ain't good. So there are ways to naturally increase testosterone, and I want to talk about that now. Obviously, some people have, like Joe Rogan, for example, have become kind of well known for supplementing testosterone, like, injecting it basically into their body. And if you want to be like hyper masculine and look like Joe Rogan, that's perhaps an option. But there's very natural and easy ways that we can get increased testosterone counts that fit perfectly with just living a good life in general, just being healthy in general. So I'm going to talk about those ways now. 7 ways to raise testosterone count naturally. Number 1, practice intermittent fasting and break the fast by eating protein. So I'm sure you probably are aware of intermittent fasting. The idea is to go at least 16 hours without eating food per day. So that would be like an 8-hour or maybe like a 6-hour feeding window. And all the rest of the time, you're not consuming any calories. Now, the key is, and I'll put a link in the description to another video where I learned this hack. I guess when you break the fast with protein, limiting carbs and limiting fat, it creates a certain chemical reaction in the body. If you want to know more about the science of it, you can watch that video in the description that I link in the description. But yeah, the 20-second version is when you break a fast with just protein, avoiding carbs, avoiding fat as much as you can, it stimulates testosterone growth in the body. And so I recently started implementing that practice myself, like very recently, just in the last week. And I'm pretty excited to see the results because it feels good already. It definitely, something about being really hungry and then just eating like only protein, like some eggs or some meat, and like that's it. And then maybe an hour or two later having some carbs or whatever else, sure, fine. But just to begin with, just protein only, it just feels good. There's something about it that I'm perfectly willing to believe does increase testosterone just based on how it feels to break a fast in that way. All right, number 2, avoid alcohol. I know this is like a contentious one because we live in a culture where alcohol is like, it's the dominant drug of the culture. It's so popular, and there's a link between like being masculine with like having a beer, right? Like, oh, I'm going to go have a beer with the boys, that makes me a real man. It actually doesn't, honestly. Like, if you want to know the truth, it makes you more estrogenic. It lowers testosterone count. The reason why is because alcohol makes the liver work to process it. And while the liver is processing the alcohol, it's not able to perform other functions that produce a higher testosterone count. So basically, by making your liver work overtime with alcohol or with drugs, it's going to negatively impact your testosterone count. Number 3, semen retention. This is a big one. Practicing semen retention is huge for building up testosterone in the body. I swear by this practice. I'm over like 100 days as I record this of semen retention, and it's just, if you're a man and you're not practicing semen retention, I suggest you get on it ASAP. It's the best tip I have for you. Number 4, lift weights. Lifting weights increases testosterone. In order to repair and produce more muscle within the body needs more testosterone. So lifting weights is extremely beneficial for becoming more masculine, really, in every way. and especially for increasing testosterone count. So the kinds of weightlifting we want to do are heavy compound weightlifting exercises, things like deadlifts or squats, things that are getting as many muscles in the body activated as at a time as possible. It's going to help. And yeah, if you're new to weightlifting or whatever, just train slow. You don't have to we're not trying to become the strongest man on earth overnight. Just meet yourself where you're at and then just slowly build from there. You might not impress yourself very much the first couple months in the gym or whatever. That's fine. There's no competition. It's all about self-improvement, So wherever your starting point is, we just want to get better from that starting point. That's what it's all about. Number 5, avoid estrogenic compounds. So the big one here is BPA plastics. If you're wondering why are testosterone counts half of what they were 2 generations ago, probably based on what I've researched, probably the answer can be most attributed to BPA plastics, microplastics in the environment that are everywhere in all kinds of food. And it gets into the endocrine system and disrupts the body's ability to produce normal amounts of testosterone. That's a culprit, at least. That's a culprit. Other culprits are probably the diet. If you haven't noticed, there's been a big push to try to turn people into like vegans and vegetarians and get people eating all of these like tofu, like meat replacement type of products. I'm really strongly against that. I did that stuff for a while. I was vegetarian for 7 years, and full disclosure, I had all kinds of mental health issues and I was depressed. And during that time of being vegetarian, I was even an athlete. I trained and I was doing triathlons. So I was like a vegetarian athlete. Now you would think if I was training, doing triathlons, that I would be like just feeling like king of the world. But because I was eating just like soy, so much soy, and like all these vegan tofu products and stuff, I just never felt good, and it affected my mental health as well, big time. So estrogenic compounds are going to be produced by foods that are high in soy, things like chickpeas and lentils. Chickpeas are a bad one. All right, at the risk of sounding like rude or offensive, I just want you to think about like, what would like some woman who's like big into yoga and she's like a vegetarian, like yoga woman, like how would she eat? You don't want to eat like that. Like just imagine like what she's going to get when she goes in the store. She's going to get some like tofu or some chickpeas or some hummus with like some crackers or something and like a little bit of lettuce or something on top. Like all of that, that's like rabbit food. Don't eat like that. If you're a man and you want to increase testosterone, I'm just going to jump into it. Number 6, you got to eat meat. You have to eat protein, a high protein diet. We already touched on that with number 1 with the intermittent fasting and breaking the fast with protein. But if you're going to add to that lifting weights, if you're going to add to that semen retention, you're going to want to eat a lot of protein. And sure, technically it's possible to get a certain amount of protein from plant-based products, but the problem is a lot of those plant-based products, they don't have certain amino acids in them. So yeah, you can eat 100 grams of protein as a vegetarian, but you're still going to be lacking in these key amino acids that are found in red meat, that are found in eggs, that are found in full fat milk. So I can't encourage it enough. Like eat meats, eat a carnivore, like find sources of good, healthy animals that have good quality lives, that are pasture raised, they're grass fed. It's humane. It's not factory farming. I don't touch factory farmed meat personally at all. I won't go near it. So I'm not saying that like all meat is created equal. That's definitely not what I'm saying. But there's probably near you, there's probably farmers that are raising grass fed beef and they have cows that have really, really, really amazing lives. And then, they give their life so that we can also have life. And if you read the Bible, doesn't discourage this at all. Personally, when I read the Bible, I see that it's hard to say for sure. And I'm not going to be one of those like false prophets who acts like I know for sure. But I would say I probably believe that Jesus himself was probably eating meat in his lifetime because he was observing all of the Jewish holidays and where they would typically, sacrifice a lamb or something. And he didn't say anything against eating meat. He didn't counsel his disciples against it. And the culture that he was in ate meat. So my belief is that, first of all, eating meat is just explicitly biblical. That's not even my opinion. That's just a fact. And second of all, I believe that Jesus himself, while he was in the flesh, probably also ate meat. Hey, for whatever it's worth, right? I just throw that out there because there's a lot of agendas that are alive on this planet today to try to get people. There are powerful people on this planet that don't want you to watch this video. They don't want you to be strong. They don't want you to increase your testosterone. They don't want you to get healthy. They don't want you to get sovereign. They don't want you to start questioning what they are up to. And so part of the program, so to speak, that gets rolled out on the population is getting people to feel like there's something wrong with eating meat, like getting people to feel bad for the animals, getting people to switch over to these vegan diets where there's a lot of propaganda and a lot of money to be made also from people who are spreading misinformation. You know, like, oh, you can get all the protein that you need from a plant-based diet. Okay, technically that's true in terms of just grams of protein. If you're willing to eat that much tofu and that much, tempeh, yeah, you can do it. But like I said before, you're not actually getting the proper spectrum of amino acids, so you're still nutrient deficient. So even if you're pounding all of this soy protein, that's great, but it's not going to get the job done. It's not going to increase testosterone counts. All right, number 7, last one. Extremely important, guys. Sleep. You've got to sleep. You have to have a quality, healthy, minimum 8 hours of sleep per night. Get at least 8 hours, 9 or 10. Hey, if you can fit that in your schedule, why not? Whatever your body needs, because if you're doing these other 6 things, intermittent fasting, semen retention, weightlifting, eating meat, your body's probably going to need to sleep, And the whole point of increasing testosterone is to increase life force, to increase vitality, to be more capable, to be more strong as a man. And I can just share that, having a high testosterone count is worth it for sure, because it makes you more attractive, and it makes your quality of life better. It makes you more resilient as a man. You're not going to get sick as often if you have normal or high testosterone levels. You're not going to have to deal with these pesky illnesses that take other people down. People who have low T counts and they're just feeling sluggish all the time and they don't feel good in their body, and people like that are they can get taken out by a disease pretty easily, honestly. But if we're keeping ourselves athletic and keeping a high testosterone count, it makes it a lot harder for these different factors in this planet to take us to the grave. You know what I'm saying? So that's my advice. And yeah, do your part on this. Keeping a high testosterone count you can at least do that. If you're in a male body, your body produces testosterone naturally. You can work with your body in this life to support it to produce normal, healthy amounts of that testosterone. And this will help not just your own life and your own family, but it will help all of society, because it creates better structure when there's men who are more masculine in their bodies, not in like a hyper masculine, toxic, like machismo way. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about like healthy men. When there's healthy men in a society, it makes it harder for that society to be preyed on by toxic and demonic forces. And there are such forces in this world, whether you believe that or not. Whether you believe it or not doesn't change the fact that there are such forces in this world. So when men can increase their testosterone counts and take community responsibility for hey, that's why I'm making this video. It's not enough for me just that I'm doing these things. I want you to do them too. Ideally, in a best case scenario, we'll do this as men. We'll do this work as men to increase our testosterone, and then get to enjoy the byproduct of a society and a civilization that has more of a masculine structure behind it, which again is not an overnight process. Especially if our generation is dealing with half of the testosterone that our grandfathers were working with. We're not going to just jump to their level overnight, right? But we can play our part to heal and to repair and to build back, That's a political slogan, I'm aware of that, but we're talking about actually building back stronger, actually doing that. And doing it by how we live and the choices that we make in our own lives. So I'll just go over them very quickly, 1 through 7. Intermittent fast and break the fast with only protein. Avoid alcohol and drugs. Practice semen retention. Lift weights. Avoid estrogenic compounds, like avoid BPA plastics. It's not good to drink those little plastic water bottles that crinkle up like nothing. People just drink, like they hold like no water in them anyway, so people have to drink like 10 of them in a day or something. That's horrible for everyone involved. Try to get glass bottles and refill it from a clean source. And avoid soy products, avoid chickpeas, avoid food that is for rabbits and yoga vegan women, okay? 6, eat meat. You want to get, I would say, 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, which is probably going to mean about 100 to 150 grams of protein for the average man. Number 7, sleep. Sleep. Quality sleep. If you have a hard time sleeping, prioritize your sleep. If there's noises in your environment, put some headphones or some earplugs in. If you're waking up in the middle of the night, try some herbs or something that are going to help you sleep. Whatever it takes to get, if you've got a partner next to you that's kicking you, sleep in a separate bed. Like, prioritize your sleep like it's like the most important 8 hours of your day, because it basically is. It's the foundation for everything else to build off of. So I leave it there. God bless you all, and please put these things into practice and let me know how it's going for you. Take care.